Did you know that the first transatlantic telegraph cable was laid 150 years ago? More recently, the university helped celebrate this historic event with its exhibition at the Manchester Science Festival. Nigel Linge, in a rather splendid waistcoat, tells us more.
The exhibition we're running here at the Museum of Science and Industry is celebrating the 150th anniversary of the world's first telegraph line across the Atlantic. That was the first international communications line, linking the west coast of Ireland to the east coast of Newfoundland, and that really led the foundations of global communications in all of its forms. The transatlantic cable was completed in 1858, and although that first cable failed after only 1 month of operation, it had proven the engineering feasibility of it, and also the 400 messages that were successfully sent across that cable had proven the business case. So that actually set the ground rules and was a kickstart to a global revolution of cables to India, to Australia, to China, down to South America, South Africa, and of course ultimately by 1902 right round the globe. So by 1902 the whole world was encircled in communications lines. You have to remember in 1858 the telephone was still something of the future. It didn't come around until 1876. Also, the signals sent across the Atlantic were using Morse code, which was a simple on and off. Now if you want to send a human voice, it's a far more complex signal to send. So until people invented amplifiers which could be submerged at the bottom of the ocean, we were never going to get telephone calls across the Atlantic. That was several years in the future after telegraphy. We still rely to this day on cables at the bottom of the world's oceans. As we speak, there are ships sailing the seas, laying cables on the ocean beds. But those cables are carrying our telephone calls, the internet, the World Wide Web, television. And whereas in 1858 the cables were communicating using electricity, today's cables are fibre optics and transferring information by light. The Manchester Science Festival is here to encourage people to get more interested in science and engineering. So it's about raising profile, raising awareness, and also hopefully encouraging the youngsters to pursue science and engineering as a career. I think across the breadth of the Manchester Science Festival we get a whole broad age group of people who come to the Science Festival events. For the event we're running here today at the museum, I think we're playing a bit of a long game as far as widening participation is concerned, because we're appealing to the very younger end, who are probably 7 or 8 years away from university education or even more. But if we can get them enthusiastic here today, hopefully when they are 18 we'll start seeing them at the university. This is the second year for the Manchester Science Festival, and because it was so successful last year they decided to repeat it, and it's going to become a standard fixture on the calendar. You can see behind us we've got a very busy day here today. We'll probably have seen 1,000 people today. So far as we're concerned, it's incredibly successful and popular. The general public are an interested audience. They use technology, they're aware of it every day, but never really thinking necessarily about what's behind it, how it works. So what we're trying to do here is also make people more aware of what science and engineering is, how it works, and basically how it is such an important part of their lives.